Is it looking up for the farmers market?
So as of right now, we have been accepted through the Yakima Health District in the city of Yakima, and we'll start on May 24th and go through October 11th. As always, Sundays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Quite a bit of items that are changing. You can find it in the frequently asked questions in the COVID section of the website, the farmers market behavior. And it's basically, the market's not going to be what everybody has been used to, and it's going to be a whole new market to learn to love.
As is life right now. All right.
Yes.
So I would love to mentally prepare people that love going out to the farmers market with the whole family and spending hours.
As of right now, that is not the way the market will be. Governor Inslee has indicated that farmers markets are considered an essential business. However, you are only allowed essential businesses in food and ag and any artistry that has to do with soap, sanitation, and face masks. So things that help with the COVID situation right now.
Okay.
Those are the only things that I am capable of having at the market. So our beloved artists, not everybody will be there at the beginning, but I am in contact with the Yakima Health District in hopes that eventually in phase 2 or 3, depending where it lies, that I might start be able to bring in other vendors. However, that all depends because I have to keep 10 feet of distance between my vendors, and that means that I may not have as much room. But as soon as phase 2 or 3 starts to phase in, I know a lot will change. However, I don't know what the particulars are. So right now I'm just focused on phase 1 and what our market's likely to look at when we open. And that includes having to wait in line to get in. We've made it so that only 3 people per vendor can come in, and we're going to try our best to keep that going. So as people go out, people come in, things like that. We're asking families to only send 1 healthy person per family to allow as many people to go through the market as possible and to avoid crowding. We're asking that no doggies be coming unless they're for those who need them. Some of the other things is we're not going to allow anybody in before 9, so that's something to consider as well. The entrance to the market will be located on Yakima Avenue and 3rd Street, and the line will go what I would consider west, so that people line up along the sidewalk on Yakima Avenue. So traffic will flow south, so shoppers will exit the market at Chestnut and 3rd. So we're trying to make it as streamlined as possible. We ask that, to avoid crowding, keep 6 feet distance from you and the vendor as well as others who are present at the market. Pay attention and be aware of your surroundings while in the market, as we will be using cones and maybe even some chalk marks on the ground to keep people from crowding the vendors too much. Our modified layout will ensure that there's 10 feet between the vendor booths to allow greater circulation and distance. We're limiting the market entrances. So like I said, that you won't be able to get in through just any point of opening at the market. We'll have some caution tape likely around the market to avoid that. We know some people won't listen to it, but
right.
We're going to try our best to keep people from just swarming in and trying to make it so that it's as safe as possible. We'll have hand sanitizer stations throughout the layout of the market. We'll probably have 2 in the entrance so people can just use it right away. And then we'll have another 2 probably down the middle of the market. There will be no music, entertainment, or public seating during this time. People are very used to that, but unfortunately we have to forego that for the time being. And we probably will not put the public seating area out until restaurants are 100% capable of being full. We're kind of in the same boat, and we're not an event anymore. We're more of a retail space for a grocery store, so people can get their food and produce and all that stuff and go home. Our volunteer staff and vendor responsibilities include, we are not requiring our vendors and volunteers and shoppers to wear masks, but we highly recommend it just for protective measures. DOH does not require it, so we are not requiring it as well, as we don't want the backlash of it. But our vendors are required to wear gloves, separate their cash and their product handling, and they should be washing their hands regularly. Our vendors are required to bring hand wash stations with them to be able to wash their hands regularly. We will still be processing SNAP and EBT at the information booth, as well as credit and debit cards. So we have those wooden tokens that people can come up and get if they forget cash, so they can pull from their debit or credit card. And we also have SNAP, also known as food stamps. We have the Market Match program, thanks to Washington State Farmers Farmers Market Association. So what happens is people will come to the information booth during market with their card in hand. As long as they have money available on their card, we can pull that money and give them tokens to spend at the vendors. It's only good for food products, things that you would generally buy at grocery stores, but it's not good for hot prepared food. The Market Match program will be for dollar for the first month at least. We're currently working on trying to find a community partner to help with that match program, as the funding is not as great after June. It's an awesome program. So like I said, it matches dollar for dollar. So whatever they take off their SNAP card, we'll give them an extra $1 that can only be used for fruit, produce, herbs, herb plants, and mushrooms. So it helps people eat a little bit healthier, but also to be able to afford some of those healthier products. WSFMA is trying to make it so that everybody is kind of on the same streamline, and so that when you get your Market Match bucks, you can use it at other farmers markets as well, versus maybe some farmers markets that only have one program versus another. WIC and senior FMMP checks will still be accepted through vendors who are approved through the state. There are new signs for that this year, and so people don't really get their checks until the end of May, beginning of June, and the checks are able to be spent at farmers markets that are registered from June to October. Some of the other things is will be any surfaces that are high touch, so any tables, POS system, cash boxes, those type of items are to be sanitized regularly. And when I say regularly, DOH indicates that it has to be at least once an hour, if not more. Our shopper behavior expectations before you go to market, make a list of what you are looking for. It'll allow you to get through the market faster. Pre-order and prepay from vendors if possible. I am working on another page on our website that will go to pre-orders and prepayments from vendors. We've got quite a few, but that is going to be updated regularly. So I always encourage people to look at the website, because that's where we're going to put a lot of the updates along with our social media pages. Designate one shopper per household. As much as I really would love to have a whole family out there, right now is not the time. Service dogs are permitted. Otherwise, please leave your pets at home. We recommend going to the bathroom prior to coming, as we will not have public restrooms available until further notice. We recommend bringing reusable bags, as these are permitted, but you're the only one who's touching them. The vendor will only be allowed to touch, so please look with your eyes, not with your hands. Vendors will help you along the way. If you're sick, please stay home. And that goes for shoppers, vendors, volunteers, even myself. I'm going to be checking my temperature regularly to make sure there's no differences, especially the day before market. During your market visit, like I said, please look with your eyes, not with your hands. Vendors will help you collect what you want and need and put it in a place where you can grab it. Maintain the 6 feet space between you and any other person. Please do not clump together for discussions and stuff, but we would love to see big smiles. We need people to shop quickly and efficiently.
I love how updated you've kept your social media, so people can definitely reference that if they need more info. And I'm looking forward to all of your updates, and thank you for all your hard work.
Oh, thank you for acknowledgement. That's very kind of you.
For sure. This is a tough time, so to adjust and keep a smile on your face at the same time, I applaud you for that.
The biggest thing I can tell people right now is just be patient, be kind to not only the volunteers and myself, but also to each other in the space, and do your very best to just kind of go with the flow. Nobody likes change, and it's definitely one of those areas that's really hard when you're used to something being one way and it's completely 360 to something else.
Yes, completely agree. But thank you for being totally transparent. That helps. Figured we get people mentally prepared for what this is going to be looking like.
Absolutely. Visit Yakima and I Heart Yakima. Everybody has been fantastic. We can't do samples. Oh, that was one I forgot to mention. They're discontinued until further notice. I guess one of the things to also say to the shoppers is just, think a little outside the box a bit and, ask a little bit more questions just to see maybe what other things you can do with that product that you wouldn't think otherwise. Roslyn Farmers Market did cancel their market, so we might end up with a few of our vendors a little more long-term versus at the beginning and at the end, so that'll be nice too. I know we'll start out with at least 15 15 vendors the first day, and produce gets bigger. The blueberry person come in, and maybe another strawberry person come in. So it'll be constant turnaround, but I've got a lot of folks who are going to be there every weekend, if not every other weekend.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for the time.
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. No, thank you for the help. I really appreciate it. Every week with Washington State Farmers Market Association, we talk to the farmers markets who have opened in the state of Washington already. We hear what their positives and their negatives have been, and so it kind of gives you a better idea of how that all goes. But the WSFMA has also worked very closely with DOH as well, which has really made it a lot easier for a lot of the markets to create the protocols they need to move forward and open their market.
What's in season right now?
Right now, you'll see a lot of apples, pears, anything that's grown in the valley and they have in cold storage. We do allow that sale as long as it's properly noted on a card, but really you'll see more probably asparagus, lettuce, legumes possibly, microgreens by 2 different vendors, lettuce, like different spring mixes. As of right now, no bakeries, but that could change on a flip of a dime. We are going to have food vendors there, but everything's going to be like prepared to go. As of right now, I should have Hawaiian food, which is new this year, and Filipino food. I'm still waiting on a couple other people to tell me what they're doing. Oh, and Mexican food. I have Sonia's Tacos. But like I said, everything will be prepared to go. They're not allowed to do condiment stations at this time, and so that's something else you have to keep in mind. Is like you have to tell them what you want, those little extra items, or otherwise you might be disappointed when you get home.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, where's my limes? Yep.
Where's my peanut sauce? Where'd it go?
Oh, that would be the worst. The dipping sauce.
Exactly.
Have a list and know who that person is going to be. No, not everybody gets to go. And if you are going to go, stay in the freaking car, okay?
Please, with the air conditioner on, do not leave your fur babies in the car.